Let's get into the player ratings for the Liverpool game, and we'll start off with Vicario. We both gave him 8. Look, apart from the 2 saves in that first half, obviously due to the red cards, he didn't have too much to do. Got beaten for the goal, which, to be fair, was pretty central, the strike, but I think he wasn't well sighted. He wasn't able to really see what was going on, so I don't want to give him too much shit for that. The goal which Diaz scored, which was ruled offside, that was just a clinical finish, and I don't think they had a shot on target really in that second half. So what he had to do, I thought he did pretty well. But do you blame him at all for the goal?
Look, you could say, if you're very harsh, you could say he could have done a little bit better, which is fair enough. I'm not going to argue against that, but I felt like he was exemplary throughout the game. When he was called upon, that double save in the first half, I thought was top notch, and I felt he was really commanding again from crosses when they were coming in the first half, catching them, punching them. I think he could have done a bit better, maybe playing out the back and his ball playing ability. But I love this man. I'm really falling in love with Vicario. And when he dropped to his knees when we scored as well, he wasn't looking when we scored the winner. And the passion coming out from him is just unbelievable. And I really believe now, my opinion on him has just completely flipped 180. I think we got a top keeper here. I really do.
Mate, he's every week he's just putting in top performances, and he seems so assured as well with how he plays. And I think as well in the Premier League, I think he's top of the league for save percentage, which really goes to show how good he's been with his shot stopping so far this season. In terms of like his playing out the back, he didn't really have to have much to show because Liverpool were down a man for most of the game. But I thought what he had to do, he did well. Next up, we got Pedro Porro. Both of us gave him a 9, and both of us gave him our man of the match. I thought an exemplary performance from Pedro Porro. I thought most of all defensively, I thought he was so aggressive. I remember that challenge on Mo Salah in that second half where he's threatening to break away and he just comes sliding in. I thought Diaz was really struggling against him in that first half as well when he was down that left-hand side. I thought he was super aggressive. He showed that defensive aggression to him. I think on the ball, as usual, top notch. Obviously assisted that late winner as well, which with a really good ball. And I just think he's, again, another player. He's improving week on week. And at the beginning of the season, we said, didn't we, maybe in these bigger games, this is where we bring in Emerson. But Porro's showing that even in these bigger games, he's probably better than Emerson to have.
Yeah, his attacking output is just insane. And that goal doesn't happen right at the end if we don't have Pedro Porro. I think if we have Emerson Royale at right back, I don't think that goal happens right at the end. So I think it's an unbelievable to see this growth in Pedro Porro week in, week out. I think he won like 7 out of his 10 ground duels. He won his only aerial duel. Diaz couldn't deal with him. The sliding tackles that he was making was exemplary. I mean, this guy is just, like you say, just growing week on week, and he's becoming one of our standout players at the moment.
And he dubs Robertson, didn't he, with a beautiful touch in that second half. I remember a really great turn. I think on the day, 6 tackles on the day as well, which is the most of anyone on the pitch, which is super impressive, especially for a player who we've questioned defensively. He seems to be really coming up trumps, and maybe Postecoglou's really doing a job with him. So fantastic from Pedro Porro. Keep it up. Next up, we got Cuti Romero. Both gave him 8s. Pretty good performance again from him. As you said in the match review, he did pretty much end that game as pretty much a CDM the way he was playing, but I thought he was super aggressive. Maybe for the goal, didn't cover himself in much glory the way he competed with Van Dijk for that header, but I thought by and large super aggressive performance yet again. Really complimented Van de Ven, and I thought his passing was really strong. So good performance from Romero.
Yeah, there were moments where he was just like doing those classic Cuti 1-2s where he just storms up the pitch. I love seeing that from him. And at one point, he's just like standing there as striker, waiting to receive the ball, which never came. But I thought the challenges that he was putting in was top notch. It was a dominant display once again from Cuti Romero. Picked up another yellow card, to be honest, which is 2nd in a row now. Let's hope this doesn't have come a consistent theme again in his play. But look, I thought it was a top display once again.
100%. Next up, we got Mickey Van de Ven. I gave him a 9. You gave him an 8. I thought he did so much good work when it comes to just recovering any balls over the top where Liverpool trying to break away into the space. He's just coming over and he's just being a touch of class again. There was one moment where they've played a through ball to Diaz and it looks like he's in on goal, but he just used his recovery pace to get there ahead of him, and it was just incredible to see that you can compete with a rapid player like Luis Diaz for pace. As we did mention in the review, he didn't cover himself in much glory with the goal. I felt that we conceded. He probably should have been a lot more aggressive in that front bar. Apart from that moment, I thought he was exemplary throughout, and another really top-notch display from Van de Ven.
Yeah, I don't even think it was just that moment, to be honest. I think, look, I agree with you 100% that it was an unbelievable display. And when Liverpool were trying to get in behind us, it was him that was getting out of trouble time and time again. It wasn't even just that one moment you were talking about. There were quite a few of them, to be honest, where it looked like Liverpool were through on goal and up steps Mickey Van de Ven. That recovery pace is just insane from Mickey. And I was actually saying to Dad halfway through the game, is Mickey Van de Ven our best defender? Is he better than Coutinho Romero?
That's a suggestion that's been made by a few people recently.
And I actually think like he might be. But anyway, that's a discussion for another day. Maybe we can bring that one up on the panel. But I think like there were 3 moments in there from Mickey Van de Ven that weren't great. There was the one you were talking about for the goal where he should have reacted quicker. There was the one for the one that was given offside, where I thought Mo Salah got the better of him, where he probably shouldn't have. And there was one as well where I think Diaz got in behind him for that chance that you were talking about at the end of the first half as well. So there were a couple of moments where Mickey was caught out a little bit. So that's the reason why I kind of marked him down a little bit. But to have those moments in the game and still have an 8 or a 9, that just shows what a classy player he is.
Yeah, a defender who I just love watching as well week on week. He's so graceful on the ball. It's absolutely brilliant. Next up, Destiny Udogie. I gave him an 8. You gave him a 7. I thought he did obviously very well in the couple of situations where Jota got sent off. There was both fouls on Destiny Udogie, which was causing him a lot of problems. I thought on the left-hand side, I thought he dealt with Salah fairly well, but I felt, again, it was a bit like what we were talking about in the review. It wasn't Salah's kind of pace and trickery which was troubling him. It was more about his kind of intelligence and where he was picking up the ball, which was maybe hurting Udogie, and it wasn't totally on Destiny, it was maybe on the other defenders as well, but Salah was definitely picking up the ball in some dangerous situations, but we dealt with it pretty well, and I thought whenever Salah took him on, I thought he was pretty good up against him. Going forward, I thought he was creating a few chances. He ended the day with 3 key passes. I remember one where he got to the byline, had a really good cutback to Sarr, and if it wasn't for a good block on the goal from I think it was from Van Dijk, it would have been a good finish from Sarr. So that would have been a good moment from Udogie as well. And I thought throughout the day he was pretty good, but he did run out of steam a bit. Obviously, Ben Davies comes on late in the game for him, but I thought he had a pretty good display on the day, Destiny.
Yeah, no, he was impressive, and he's come up against Bukayo Saka and Mo Salah in the space of like 7 days. So not the easiest oppositions, to be honest. But I think he's passed both tests with flying colours. And I was talking about this through the game yesterday, and I think Mo Salah is probably pound for pound probably the best player in the Premier League right now, with his selfless running, his assists that he's laying on, and the goals that he's getting. And for Destiny Udogie to play like that against him, I thought it was an absolutely brilliant display. He picks up a yellow card, which I don't think was a yellow card. He gets Jota sent off with 2 fouls, receiving 2 fouls, which one was a foul, I thought anyway, in the space of 2 minutes. So he had a massive impact in the game. And I thought he defended well throughout, and he was charging forward as well at times. So I thought Destiny was really good display.
All right. Next up, we've got Yves Bissouma. We both gave him 8. So I thought he had a really strong start to the game. I thought in that first half, especially when it was 11 on 11, I thought he was dominating in there and looking really impressive. I thought a few of the things he did was like it gets to the stage where it's like, oh my God, he's just such a joke. The way he turns in his own third when he's being pressed and just easily breaks the press, I thought was phenomenal. I did feel like obviously he got that really bad knock from Curtis Jones, which got Curtis sent off. I didn't think it was bad. bad. Obviously, he did some really good stuff. He got really lucky. There was one moment in the second half where Salah turned him, and he got very lucky that it was flagged for a foul, because I just thought he got turned on that moment, and they could have been in on goal there, Liverpool. And I thought sometimes his passing was a bit sloppy as well, going into late in the game. And also, he is another one who got taken off late. Maybe he wasn't 100%, but I thought in the end it was another good showing from Basuma, but maybe it wasn't his best display, but still got an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I thought he started the game really well, like you say, and I felt like when we had 9 men, he was actually the one trying to pick up the ball in the central areas and trying to move it quickly and trying to make stuff happen. So I commend him for that. And there was that one moment where he ran back to dispossess Salah of the ball. I think it might have been off his own mistake, to be honest, but I think the way he dealt with Salah in that moment, I thought was top notch. It's just frustrating that he got that yellow card. So now literally one more booking now, and he's suspended, and he's going to be a massive loss for us, because the way he plays, you just know that booking is coming imminent.
Yeah, and look, as you say, he's on 4 bookings now. It's something Postecoglou said that at the before the game, he's got to watch himself, because he's getting a lot of bookings at the moment, and he did end up getting another booking in this game. So hopefully he can tread a fine line between now and January, where there's a grace period for the yellow cards, but it looks like it's probably inevitable at this point. He's going to have to miss a game, so let's hope it's not an important one. Next up, we got James Maddison. We both gave him 8s as well. I thought, obviously, our most creative player on the day. I thought he did brilliant for the goal, the opening goal, with an amazing ball down the line to Richarlison. Had a couple of nice efforts which Alisson had to deal with from outside the box as well, which were probably a lot troubling for him. And I thought in the second half as well, he was the only one really picking up the ball in and around the penalty area, and looked like he was going to do something with it and create a chance. But just like a few of our other better players as well, did seem to run out of steam a bit. Was taken off for that reason. But I thought he had a really creative. He also had a carbon copy of that first goal through to Richarlison, which Son tapped home, but that one was offside. But he showed the quality that he has, and I thought Liverpool struggled to deal with him.
Yeah, he was our most creative outlet. I don't think maybe it was as strong of a showing as maybe we have seen in recent weeks from him, because that's just the high bar that he has set. But it was a really good display. And that ball in for the first goal to Richarlison was top notch. And I was just frustrated when we took him off, because he was like our main source of any sort of creative outcome for the game. And when he did go off, it did seem like we ran out of ideas and ran out of questions for Liverpool, albeit he did go off in the 90th minute. So kind of make of that what you will. But look, Maddison is an absolutely unreal player, unreal signing. I just feel like his set pieces let us down a bit on the day.
Yeah, his corners were Eriksen-esque, weren't they? I remember there was someone around me every time Maddison took a corner. He just kept saying, "Is that Eriksen? I thought Eriksen left," every single time. So that was a bit disappointing. But I thought at the end he still had a great game. Pape Matar Sarr next up. I gave him an 8. You gave him a 7. A bundle of energy, as he always is throughout the game. I thought he did do fairly well in possession. I remember a few really nice turns in the centre of the park, which Liverpool were struggling to deal with. Second half, though, maybe wasn't really as involved as he was in the first half, and was taken off for Ollie Skip late in the game. But I thought, on reflection, maybe an 8 is maybe a bit too much. But I thought the first half he was having a really good game. So that's what was kind of in the forefront of my mind when I gave him the rating. But what did you make of Pape?
Yeah, that's exactly why I dropped him down to a 7, because I was really impressed with him in the first half. I thought he was integral for us in terms of trying to get the better of Liverpool in the midfield. He was every blade of grass was being covered. He was getting shots off. He was being dangerous defensively and offensively. So he was a real handful to deal with in that first half. But he did kind of tire in that second half. And it was kind of frustrating, because we had the extra man. And you would think, like, with the legs that Pape Matar Sarr has against 10 men, against 9 men, we can make it count a bit more. But like, he kind of went missing a little bit in that second half.
Yeah, I agree with that. Next up, we got Richarlison starting off the left in this game. I gave him a 7, you gave him an 8. Obviously, ended the game with a really good assist for Heung-min Son after a good run in behind. Did end up hitting the post as well in that first half. And I thought in the first half he was having a really good game, to be fair. He had that chance where he flashed it across the face of goal that someone could have tapped home and no one was there for. Second half as well, he had another good run in behind, which Son scored from, but he was just offside for that moment as well. But I felt like he did seem to wane in influence as the game went on, and once he went centrally, I don't think he had a kick. I don't remember once he moved into central striker, and it was pretty much not involved. But I thought in the first half he was having a great game, but I was a bit frustrated maybe from like the hour mark onwards, his influence diminished a bit.
Yeah, look, you can say that. That's a fair criticism, to be honest. But I felt like in that first hour, he was involved in everything good that we were doing. And all our big chances all came from him. He should have scored as well. Well, it would have been a great goal if he did score, but it struck against the post. And if that one goes in on the other side of the post, you're thinking, wow, what performance from Richarlison. But look, it doesn't go in. He's very unfortunate that it doesn't. But I was very happy with the way Richarlison played. It's his best performance of the season. And hopefully he can just keep going in this way, because I felt like you could really see the confidence is starting to come back into his game.
Are we feeling Richarlison is now going to be from the left from now on, or is just
he has to keep his spot?
No, I'm saying, but you think on the left, yeah? You think he's now going to be a left 100%. Winger for us?
I think he has to keep his spot. I think Sonny is so much more suited to the number 9 role, and you can't have someone that is such an elite finisher not be there as the number 9 to gobble up all those chances. So I think Richarlison works so hard for the team on the left-hand side, and his passing seems to have got better the last couple of games too. So let's keep it how it is, because I think we're onto a good thing here with Sonny as number 9.
Okay, next up, well, let's talk about Heung-min Son. We both gave him 8s. Another good performance from him in the number 9 position. Obviously, ended up scoring the first goal with obviously found a bit of space in the box and tapped it home, which is something that we've been saying, like, Son without space, does he struggle? But he ended up finding a bit of space in the box and tapping home the first one. Had a brilliant volley, didn't he? Which was tipped over from Alisson in the second half, which really would have been a fantastic goal. Had a goal ruled out for offside in the second half as well. So I thought he wasn't that involved in the game, but when he was involved, he was looking to make the difference, and that's what Son can do. And I thought, considering as well, what Ange said before the game, that he was only really going to play between an hour and 70 minutes, and he wasn't 100% fit going into it, I thought he did make a difference in that game. And at the end, showing his passion again with the win, just showing how what a great captain he is. And when he did that at the end as well, that when he comes to Southampton, just shows that passion in him with that win. It's just something we never saw from Harry Kane. As much as we had that connection with him, we never really saw that proper passion from him with the fans. And I'm just loving it from Sonny.
Yeah, and that's why I said Heung-min Son is the best captain since Deadly King. And I got corrected by my uncle when I said that. He says, no, he's not the best captain since Deadly King. He's the best captain since Steve Perryman, he said. So, look, Heung-min Son, I don't think it was like an amazing display yesterday, but I think like everything that he did to a really high level, like you said. Obviously gets on the score sheet. Liverpool must be sick to the sight of him. He always seems to score against them. That volley was just insane, and it was a top save by Alisson, to be honest, to keep that one out. And look, when you're playing against the low block, when you're playing against very congested areas of the pitch, that's just not Heung-min Son's game. And if it stayed against 10 men or stayed against 11 men, it would have suited the game for Sonny a bit more. But once it went down to 9 men, it just became really hard for Son. And I think he went off actually just before it went to 9 men, to be honest. But even at 10 men,
it was just after, I believe. It was just after. Literally a minute after, I think.
So, I mean, he just found it hard to kind of navigate his way through those congested areas. Yeah,
I agree with that. But still showing, look, he just loves scoring against Liverpool. I think that's 6 goals in his last 7 games now against Liverpool. So he's got a great
behind
record.
Haaland.
Oh, hello. Exactly. Maybe catching up a bit. Next up, we have Dejan Kulusevski, who's played on the right-hand side. We both gave him 7s. I thought for the first hour or so was having a really strong game. I thought he was, again, I think he does such an underrated role for the team with his ability to hold the ball on that right-hand side and keep possession away from the opposition and carry the ball forward and into the penalty area and create chances, which I think he did. I think at the end of the day, he ended the game with 5 key passes, which is more than any other player on the pitch. But why I marked him down a bit was just I felt those last 20 minutes, I was very disappointed with him. He seemed to run out of ideas a lot. He was just cutting inside and passing it back. He wasn't really creating anything. He had a couple of moments as well where he was overhitting crosses where if we had some good quality in those situations, we could have really hurt Liverpool. So that was frustrating. But I think by and large, again, I was happy with his performance. But those last 20 minutes, a bit like the rest of the team, he was a bit frustrating.
Yeah, I felt like in the early stages of the game, he was actually our best player. The way he was picking up the ball, he was driving. They couldn't really get the ball off him at times, but it's not, those moments are not the ones where I question Dejan Kulusevski. What I question him on is on his end product afterwards. And I felt like his end product throughout the 90 minutes was really frustrating. His crossing, his passing, I felt like those were really frustrating me, to be honest, throughout the game. But the way he was getting the ball and kind of trying to relieve the team of pressure and driving at the fullback and driving into central areas and cutting inside, I was really impressed. But it's his end product again that was really frustrating.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Next up, Manor Solomon, who came on for Heung-min Son, played on the left side. Both gave him 6s. Didn't really impact the game too much. Obviously, he was had a couple of runs at Trent Alexander-Arnold, which looked bright, but wasn't really able to get any crosses in or create anything. The only time he did get a shot off, it was a deflection and nearly falls to Richarlison, but obviously goes wide in the end. But it wasn't a great cameo from Manor. Just didn't, like, especially when you're up against 9 men, you need good quality from the wingers, and he just was a bit just wasn't anonymous because he got the ball a bit, but wasn't really able to impact the game.
Yeah, I felt like he did a good job in terms of just keeping Trent Alexander-Arnold. Well, I guess he was always going to be that with 9 men, but pinned back down to that right back spot. He attacked him a few times, but yeah, like you say, at that point in the game, we need real quality. Like an Ivan Perisic. Like if Ivan Perisic is coming on for these last few minutes against 9 men, you're much more confident of going and getting the goal with a good cross in the box than a Manor Solomon, unfortunately.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Obviously, there are some other substitutes, but we're not going to give them ratings. They weren't on for long enough. But Højbjerg, Davis, who else came on? Højbjerg, Davis, Veliz, and anyone else came on? Højbjerg, Davis, and Veliz. Anyone else? So I think they came on and Skip as well. Ollie Skip came on for Sarr as well. They came on and added a bit of energy, but didn't really do much when it came to any quality in the final third. But it was just a shame because I felt like they came on not because it was a tactical decision. I felt like they came on for Basuma, Maddison, and Son, and I felt like and Udogie as well. But like, they came on because they were lacking a bit of energy. Maybe they were tiring a bit and getting affected by a few injuries they picked up during the game. So it wasn't one of those things where it was tactical, I felt, and they didn't really impress me. Any of them, apart from maybe Højbjerg, who was all right, but Veliz didn't really have too many touches when he came on. So not too much to comment about those subs.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about them. It's just frustrating that these are the players that we have to turn to go and grab a win. You're talking about predominantly defensive players in Højbjerg, Ben Davies, and Ollie Skip, and you're playing against 9 men. We need to find solutions to unlock, not sit back. And I know they didn't sit back; that wasn't their remit, but that's what they're best at.
Yeah, 100%. They're definitely best when we're trying to hold a result rather than trying to win a game. There were rumours before the game that like Brian Hill or Jamie Donnelly were going to be on the bench, but unfortunately, I didn't come to pass.
Donnelly was on the bench.
Oh, Donnelly was on the bench?
Yeah.
Shame they didn't turn to him in that moment. Then
Yeah.
next up, last but not least, Ange Postecoglou. We both gave him 8s. Obviously, fantastic win. I thought we played well on the day against a really good Liverpool side. Obviously, circumstances did fall in our favour, and we did end up getting the rub of the green from refereeing decisions. But that mentality that he's instilled and that togetherness is a massive part of why I'm giving him this rating. And obviously, look, I don't think the subs or anything he could have done much about, but I think it's just more about the belief he's got, and the way this club is going is unbelievable. So gave him an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I kind of feel the exact same way against you. It was our toughest game of the season so far in terms of what Liverpool had to offer. At 11 on 11, I felt like we were definitely under pressure. But I felt like no matter what happened, you saw what happened in the game. You can't have any complaints about it because it's the referee's decision on the day. And we kept going. We found a solution right at the end, and we took home 3 points against a very good Liverpool side. So last 2 games now, 4 points against Arsenal and Liverpool. We move on to a favourable run of fixtures now, and you got to commend Ange Postecoglou for the way he's managed this football club. Everything has changed from the mentality in the stands, the mentality of the pitch, and we're kind of going into every game now like thinking, all right, we can get a result here.
Yeah, 100%. And we've got nothing to fear now. Look, away the Emirates, we got a draw. Home to Liverpool, even under difficult circumstances, we got the win as well. So I'm just couldn't be happier with our start to the season. It just makes me so excited for every Spurs game in the moment. And who knows what we can achieve. Postecoglou was asked after the game, are you ahead of schedule? And he's like, look, we don't have a schedule. We're just taking it game by game, and we'll see where we're at, and we're just going to keep improving. And that's the really good mentality to have, because you start thinking of schedules and all these things and 5-year plans, you can get distracted by all these things. And I think it's the right approach for where we're at the moment. And I'm loving what we're doing at the moment with Ange Postecoglou. So look, bring on next week. We've got Luton next. Spurs sit second in the league, and let's just keep it going. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
It's classic Spurs though, wouldn't it? Be classic Spurs to after these 2 results go lose to Luton.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
Let's won't let it happen though.
Yeah, let's hope we stay on the ground and stay humble, as I think Vicario said on the game. That's how we got to approach it.